All right, welcome back to the Green Dispensary Marketing GDM Podcast. Always trying to be talking with the best entrepreneurs, the best players in the cannabis industry. And so I'm really excited to have actually back for, what is this, the third time now? One of my favorite people in the cannabis industry. And so she is actually, an expert on loyalty and retention marketing. And now that we're in a new year, there's new trends to kind of look at. And so I'm really excited to have her back on, because every time she's on here, she gives a lot of good value, and so I'm sure we're going to do this again. Her name is Steph Vrona. She's the co-founder of High Def Studio. The founder. And I'm really excited to talk with you, Steph. We got a lot to break down. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I know we booked this out 2 weeks, and it's here, and I'm really excited for it.
Yep. And so we actually need to be talking about something new that you're offering today. And so we can just jump right into this to get started. And so you've been really working hard to push this, and I'm sure there's just a ton of value in here. I haven't got into it yet, but you have this new course, and it's called Clarify Your Dispensary's Market Position in 10 Steps. And so I'm really curious to learn more. Is this you giving away like all the goods in a sense where you're just not going to be needed anymore? Or what's going on here, Steph?
I mean, I do base my entire agency model on that self-sufficiency. I don't want you to have to be dependent on an agency to run your retail marketing or your retention programs. You have all of the talent right there in-house. You see a little bit of training, a little bit of help, a little bit of resource, and that's where I typically come in. So I started, back up. Clarify Your Dispensary's Market Position in 10 Steps is an in-depth walkthrough of how to do proper market research in the cannabis space. 90% of the prospects I talk to think that their competitor is the dispensary closest to them. It's not. It's usually not. You both serve completely different demographics. People come in for different things. You have different sales structures, et cetera, et cetera. The whole overarching concept of me putting out courses is eventually, yes, I do want to have enough courses and put together bundles, or maybe even combine it into one course that you can do what I do. You can build and edit and optimize your own retention program and train your own staff to do it. So I am very far away from having that full course load done. It's actually going to come out in 8 different sections, and I have at least 6 or 7 courses in each section planned. So now I need to get to work. But it's not just courses. It's also, there's a lot of free resources on highdef.studio. I am huge on not gatekeeping the information. There is plenty to go around. I had to learn it somehow, and I wouldn't have learned it if it wasn't for the generosity of the marketers before me that were willing to sit with me and be like, no, babe, that's not how we do this. It was helpful. You can bring outside concepts into cannabis, sure, but there's a level of nuance that is not intuitive, my opinion.
Yeah, and I think you would agree with this, like being a marketer, a lot of the value in what we do isn't necessarily in the ideas themselves, but the implementation of these ideas. And that's where like a lot of the sweat and the muscle comes into play. And so is that kind of the goal with this course, is that you're just kind of selling the implementation and giving the ideas? Is that what you would say?
No, it is soup to nuts. It is everything. So I want to throw out a small caveat, a warning. Like when you go into stuff that I create, I'm not here or willing, or my entire intention is not to give you band-aids or quick wins. This is foundational. This is how to do it properly. I have worked in cannabis now, retail cannabis, for almost a decade. I've never had a team larger than 3 people. There are ways that you can get ahead and run your 4 dispensary locations, your 3 brands, and then also support all of the vendors in your dispensary. It's impossible to do it by yourself, flying by the seat of your pants, though. If you have proper pre-planning and you have processes and systems and clear SOPs and ways to delegate, making hiring easier, onboarding, but tenders that want more responsibility, really, really helps. Can't do it by the seat of your pants, though. You have to have good foundation. You have to have structure. I know that seems counterintuitive to marketing in cannabis, but like, dude, it's possible to get 6 months ahead on your promos and know exactly what you're marketing. Let that run autopilot, and then you have bandwidth to put out fires and do fun, crazy last minute stuff.
No, 100%, especially when you get your operations down. I mean, that's what you specialize in. And so, if you want to get to that point where you have 6 months of promos down and you can just start fine tuning other tweaks and bottlenecks in your operations, hit up Steph Vrona. That being said, I'm really excited to talk to you today about the latest loyalty trends, things that we got going on in the whole loyalty niche. So as you know, I don't really jump into loyalty as much as I do customer acquisition. We can kind of bicker with each other, but it's all for fun because we were just talking about this, joking about this before. We know that we're both needed in this market, and so maybe we can fight over who's more important. But anyways, without going on a tangent, I'm curious what you've seen so far recently that's new on your radar that you're interested in with this new retention loyalty niche.
Not so much new, but I'm honestly really excited to see the trend. There's more experiential thought being put into retention programs. It's
hold up. Let's translate that for idiots like myself. What is experiential thought?
So your average retention program is you get 1 point per dollar, and then you can redeem 100 points for $5 off. I am seeing more dispensaries move into experiential events, movie tickets, concerts, not budtender, grower, like Ask the Grower. I saw one of those events. Like you get a one-on-one. I've seen infused dinners in retention programs, and that is the shit that gets me excited. That is what's going to get people to come back to your location. It's I can get $10 off on my next purchase, but I can get that literally anywhere, and every dispensary is offering essentially that same retention program. By putting other things in it, though, make it interesting, make it fun. There's a lot that sets your dispensary apart other than the brands you carry and the deals that you're running. Just got to find it.
Yeah, and so what would this look like? So say you're like a mom and pop store who, I don't know, has very basic revenue of, $30K a month. How do they implement this from the get-go without investing too much and having a high risk?
Start local. Start super local. So I'll give you an example of one that I've run in Arizona. Movie tickets during the summertime. You can get a pack of 50 movie tickets for, $200. I'm probably making up these prices. I don't remember exactly how much I spent. It was less than $200 though, and it was well over 50 tickets. And we throw 2 in the retention program, or we'd offer 2 with any pre-roll purchase of a house brand, and I could not keep those in stock. Everyone wants to go to the movies in a nice cold theater in the middle of summertime. Or it's like partnering with local businesses and giving vouchers and gift cards, and that's perfectly legal in most states.
And that's genius too, to be honest with you. So what do you do to go about securing those partnerships? Is it like cold outreach? Are you doing cold calling, or are they coming to the stores themselves and kind of offering themselves, or what's the best way? What would you say?
It depends. So I do offer a brand partnership outreach template that people can follow, but I always advise start with something that's self-sufficient. So like movie tickets, for example, you can just go on their website and buy a pack yourself, or you can run into the movie theater and they'll give you like the whole booklet of them. And then you can just dole those out on your own. You don't have to go through retail or anything to add them into the system. It's something separate from it. It comes out of your marketing budget. If you want to do vouchers with like a local business, you got to go start a relationship with them. Go talk to the owner, go talk to whoever's running the place and say, hey, this is what I want to do. It wasn't part of the retention program when I did it in Illinois, but we did work out a $4.20 slice of pizza and drink lunch deal with the place up the road. And the only place you could get that deal was if you got a card from our dispensary. And then they had a little, I made them a little sign thing for them. And it's like, hey, do you want a $4.20 lunch? Go to this dispensary right up the road. That was wonderful. And it only ended because they sold the business and the new ownership wasn't pro-cannabis.
I love that. This is I haven't heard of this idea before, and I think this is really smart. For kind of put this in context, working with dispensary owners, oftentimes they'll kind of give me direction in ways that maybe I can do my job a little bit better, And one of these recently has been reaching out to brands and having them market us. But the whole context and the whole idea of this idea was to reach out to other cannabis brands. But why stick with just cannabis when we could be looking at the movies or this, that, and the third, a juice shop or whatever the hell you're selling in your area? Yeah. I think that's genius. So I wanted to shout you out.
What do you like to do, right? When you're stoned, that's where we start. Okay, hey, budtenders, what do you like to do when you're stoned? How do you leave your house? I don't leave my house. I'm not always the best person to come up with a lot of ideas.
No, you got to.
Steph, what do you do for fun?
And if you don't want to pay for an Uber or whatever the hell, you might as well just stay at home.
Uber vouchers are a phenomenal thing to add because it's electronic and it's easy to dole them out. And all you need is their email address. Y'all, this is not hard. You just need some creativity.
Again, free promo for Steph Vrona. This is another reason why you should be hitting her up and why you should be talking to her. That said, let's talk I wanted to talk a little bit about, a little bit my experience with loyalty and what I've seen, so I'm going to put this in the lens of my personal experience, and I want you to completely butcher this and destroy it and, kind of give you your idea of how it could be improved. But I recently moved to a small town in Colorado, and there's probably like 6 or 7 dispensaries, and they're all kind of in the same area, right? And so after going to several of them, we were trying this like prospecting strategy where we were giving them a gift and whatever, and offering whatever. And so we went to this other one without doing this one day, and we immediately got blown away by this really cool bud tender. His name's Alex. Shout out to Smiley Alex from Starbuds. If anybody in Starbuds is listening, definitely give this guy a raise. He's at the Garden City location in Colorado. Anyways, he did a great job just kind of coaching us through all these different products, this, that, and the third. And then when we got to the checkout, he actually asked for my phone number, and then we opted in twice. And then I came back just because I really liked this guy. I really liked the bud tender. Actually, is the biggest reason. Then all of a sudden he's throwing these offers. Hey, yeah, you opted in. We can give you a free joint. We can give you $10 off. We can do this. What do you think? And so we took the free joint, and then we also realized that we had more offers to come back in. And so we came in a third time. And then right around the third time, the offers started to go away. And then they were talking about, you need to buy more. And then at the same time, I hate to kind of criticize the industry, but after living in Latin America for almost 10 years, I really hate U.S. tip culture. And I don't like how they want us to tip the bud tenders. I get it, they don't get paid well, but I personally would put that on the corporation. And so that in addition to not being able to have more offers, new promos, I just went somewhere else. And so that said, Steph, what did they do great? What did they fuck up? If you were in charge of the Starbuds loyalty program, how would you have got me to come back in?
So honestly, that program follows very similarly to what I suggest dispensaries do. Typically, by the time a patron has visited on their 4th time, they can be considered loyal. If it's in an area that doesn't have dispensary loyalty and it's more brand loyalty, you can at least pretty much bank on you're going to be in their rotation of dispos when they are looking to go to the dispo. The fact that Alex not only got you to sign up on your very first visit, but do the double opt-in and then brought it up again when you came back and then brought it up again when you came back. No notes. Do that. Do that every fucking time. I echo it, and I'm very firm about it with my clients. If you do not have bud tender buy-in for this program and your team is not excited for it, it will not succeed. But tenders have to talk about your retention program. That is the incentive for people to come back, that there is something that they're working towards. So after your 3rd visit, you're like, you got to buy more in order to get more. I'm not very familiar with Starbucks program, but I would be curious to see what they have in their arsenal as far as rewards go. If it's just dollars off your purchase, there's not really a ton of incentive to come back. Because like you said, I can go literally anywhere for that. I hear you loud and clear on tip culture. I have a love-hate relationship with it. My problem with the cannabis industry and tip culture is you're no longer tipping your bud tender. You're tipping into a pool that the bud tenders then split. Give me your Venmo. If you help me and you were that much help and if you have a tip, give me your Venmo. I would rather give you this tip than to put it in a pool for the dispo. And you're absolutely right. The dispensary should be paying more. It is asinine that our bud tenders make $13 an hour. And what are you doing? What are you doing? It's like the worst part of this industry. And then you feel upsold, and then they're shilling because they have to make those couple of extra bucks in commission, and that's their incentive. And it just ruins the entire experience for me. I am elated to hear that you had a phenomenal experience with the bud tender and you came back for them specifically. Talk about that more, because I don't think retailers understand that. If you didn't have good bud tenders, you're not selling shit.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
And I think, just based on this one little experience, the bud tender was the biggest reason I came back. The free joint and whatever, $5 off, it was secondary. And so if that's the case, why are we not paying bud tenders, $25 an hour minimum? Because these people are not like entry-level workers. They have a lot of knowledge. And, they not just about, how to get high or whatever. They, like, for example, I went to a store yesterday and I needed to buy a new vaporizer. and we're looking at 3 different types of, like the little connectors that you twist in. And he was talking about how this one does this one does this, and this one has temperature control, and it also does this. If you put it at this level, you get the better smooth smoke. And I said, like, yeah, I want that one. Another example, he just upsold me the highest vaporizer just because he knew about the product. And so, do you know of any stores that are kind of like beating this model and like upset or really paying their bud tenders, or what's the best solution here? What do you think, Steph?
It's definitely a tough question, because I've honestly seen the decline as long as I've worked in cannabis, and it is a huge frustration of mine, and it is the number one reason why I will never return back to a dispo. So, like, I have an anxiety disorder. I cannot have distillate. I can't. I will have a panic attack, and then I will deal with really bad anxiety for like 4 days afterward. I can tell when you're cutting my product with distillate. So there's no reason I'm sitting here at 10 a.m. with heart palpitations, just trying to relax. Like, that is not fun for anybody. But I see it. I see it all the time. Like, especially, Sparkplug is a wonderful service that for the cannabis retail environment, but it does kind of create a really shitty experience for the end consumer if they're not upselling properly. So what I have found is most dispensaries go, they're paying $13 to $15 an hour. They're looking for someone that literally only has entry-level retail experience, but then they're also not really offering really great sales training, intelligent upselling, or what? Not intelligent upselling, compassionate upselling, things that make sense. I don't know. There's not really a lot of dispos that are education forward anymore. Since as soon as the market goes rec, education's out the window. Because how is your bud tender going to explain that this live rosin product that's 100% more is not the same thing as a distillate product when you've been telling them for 2 years that distillate is the same thing?
See,
there's no more education.
I wouldn't even be able to do that. And this is why you need like these expert people in these bud tender roles. And if I were a dispo owner hearing this, I would really heavily consider giving a raise to my bud tenders, especially the high performers, the ones that are getting these opt-ins for the SMS, doing Google reviews, getting email addresses, and also upselling the customers. There's a huge unspoken amount of value there. But what about the promos? So, in this case, he was giving me a free joints, $5 off, and then you have to keep spending, and every dollar that you spend is like a certain amount of points. That's the Starbuds loyalty program. Mm-hmm. Would you say they're on the right track, or what are they doing wrong?
I think it's boring. I think it's super boring. Like, sure, do the 1 point per dollar, but dollars off your purchase just cuts into your margin. And I'll ask prospects, like, do you like giving 5 to 10% of your margin on top of what you're already discount off every time? Well, no, but if we take the $5 off out of the program, people will stop coming. No, they won't. I promise you they won't stop coming, because they still need cannabis. And okay, sure, the dispensary up the street still offers that, but why don't you offer something better? It's like my retention programs start at up to an 8% return. They start there. Most dispensary programs that I've seen start at a return of between 3 and 5%. So if you're super adamant and you have to have that discount built in there, onboard something like Birchmount. And then you can do gift cards or do points in exchange for dollars, and then just explain to your patrons, like, hey, if you really want those dollars off and that's important to you to come and shop, we can do that, but you're going to get it at a lesser return than if you saved up your points and participated in our program. Or even just gating those discounts. Arizona's really, really, really bad with discounts, and now that I shop as a patron, I appreciate them. But all you've done is train me to never pay full price for anything that you have on the shelf. Why would I ever pay $50 for an eighth when I can get the exact same eighth in 2 weeks for $25? It's not a medical market anymore. I don't need weed that bad like that. I have my medical stuff figured out, and then you're just coaching them to come in every 2 weeks on your sale days. It's so bad. I champion trust. Trust is what's going to help you sell more. And I say that from experience too. I've gone into dispensaries and say, hey, I need a full spectrum or a live rosin product, whether it's an edible or a vape or whatever. And someone hands me an edible package, and I was like, hey man, this doesn't say full spectrum on it. And they're like, no, I swear it's a rosin product. And I'm like,
trust me, bro, that's the source.
I'm pretty sure that if it was a solventless product, it'd be on the packaging. And I'm like, okay, maybe this brand only does solventless products, and it is just known in this area that they do it. Whatever, buy the product. It was like $7. It was super cheap. Come home, Google it a little bit. It's a distillate gummy. Guess where those go? not in my body.
And guess where you're not going? To that dispensary.
Ever.
Again.
And every single person I talk to that asked me for a dispo in that area, don't go there. Don't go to that one. I want to ask you, was that Starbucks experience your best experience in a dispo?
Probably, and just because I really liked the guy, to be honest.
Budtender? I have a similar. My best experience ever was March and Ash in San Diego. I came in looking for Rod.
What's the name of the company?
March and Ash.
March and Ash. I've heard of that one.
March and Ash. Ampersand AS. Beautiful dispo. So just walking in, the security guard, the front person, and someone came to greet me, all told me that they have a last chance table. Make sure you look at that before you leave. And I say, okay, cool. Going in, my first time in a California dispensary, I am blown away. There's packaging and stuff on the shelves. There's products. I'm like, can I touch this? Can I like pick it up? And they're like, yeah, I can do whatever you want. I'm like, my mind was blown. So whatever, find a bud tender, find the rosin, and bud tender came over to help me. And she's like, you know what? I actually don't know a lot a rosin. Let me go find someone that does. Beautiful. I didn't have to ask her to do that. Wonderful.
Great work for
not only
it's okay to not know.
Yes, it's okay to not know. I don't know a lot of things, and that's all right. Not only did she come back with the person, she's like, is it okay if I stay and learn so that I can answer these questions next time? I'm like, I know that you're working here. Can I bring you back with me to come work in locations, please? And she did. She stayed the entire time. She asked questions. She riffed with me, and that was a ridiculously wonderful experience. I think I spent probably 20% more than I probably would have. But then as they're checking me out, the bud tender that was checking me out said, hey, if you want to go check out the last chance table while I'm doing this, now's the perfect time. I bought like 5 more products because I got the extra reminder. Like, just meet your customers where they're at. That was a ridiculously wonderful experience. And I just can't believe it kind of boiled down to like, wait, you want to learn about the thing that you don't know instead of just like, I don't know, here's another person.
I hate having to ask. Paycheck. You don't just want $5 or $15 an hour. You actually care about the customer. But I think we're cracking into something here, Steph. I think there's a lot to be said about having great bud tenders in your loyalty program. And so how does that tie into ops? And so, when you're kind of, when you're helping people with their operations, is this something that you go over a lot in just bud tender training? How does that work?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, it's all from a system point of view, right? It's like when I don't just build retention programs, I do marketing ops. So like your compliance department, your finance department, your leadership, your retail, and your marketing are all involved in those conversations and making those decisions. I want bud tenders to contribute to the program. I want them to have ideas for what goes into rewards. So once we build out the program, I do at least a full month of pre-marketing. And that really is just for the bud tenders to get familiar with the program and to hype things. And like all the times that bud tenders have contributed to these programs are the ones that are the most vocal about what is coming up. And those are the programs that succeed because they're like, it's their idea. How many bud tenders do you know that you've worked with that actually get to contribute to anything that goes on in retail ops?
None. Here, sell this.
But they're the ones selling it. They're the ones that like, I don't think it's that big of a deal, so I champion it for my programs, and it fucking works. It works. I'm hype when I get to do things and talk about them. Even if I'm not crazy proud of the work, like, I put that together. I gotta launch it. I did a golden ticket campaign in Arizona. Did it bomb? Yep. I didn't get to run it.
Campaign.
So and this is actually a campaign that I'm going to put up on my campaign library for y'all. I have 3 more planned before the end of the year. Golden ticket.
The Studio Vault, correct? The Studio Vault.
Studio Vault. So I have a resources section on highdef.studio, and that's where all the free stuff is. But the gist of this golden ticket campaign was you have 15 dispensaries that are participating. And we had to figure it out logistically on the wholesale side. So that was a little bit of a difficulty, but there's a golden ticket in essentially every batch. And there's a guaranteed winner in every single dispensary for the next month. You find the golden ticket, you get XYZ brand 2 packs for free every month for the next year. People bought the shit out of those, but they didn't execute it right. And I don't think anybody won. I didn't hear anything about it. I ended up leaving the company and I heard that they deployed it and it didn't go good. And that makes me sad because there's ways that I'm sure there's ways that you can do it. I don't know. But Still, it's my idea and I'm happy and I'm proud about it and I'm going to tell everybody about it. Did it work that time? No, but I didn't do it. That's my excuse. It wasn't me. They just took my idea.
Well, and now you also got like this failed result, quote unquote failed, because it probably wouldn't have had you been able to see it through the finish. And now it's just an asset that you have in your library, and that anybody goes to Studio Vault if they want a free campaign, just sitting right there and it's proven and it'll work.
Oh my God. I can't wait for someone to use one of those. And if y'all hate them, tell me. I'm only as good as the feedback I get. And yeah, sometimes I get a little baked like everyone else in marketing and try to come up with campaign ideas. Like, what else am I going to do?
Yeah. Well, you got to get that creativity from somewhere, right? So actually, this is a good point for us to kind of transition a little bit. So another thing that we wanted to talk about on this podcast that I'm curious to kind of just let you dive into, and disclaimer, I have some partners in the industry and I'm going to use their names too when we're discussing this, but let's talk about dispo apps. And so this is something, in my opinion, I think is a great way for retention marketing, just because of the push notifications. And I think that's so valuable. And if it also goes through compliance, then inventory, and then when you make a sale, it goes through all checks all the boxes. I think it's a really great opportunity. And so I know there's some great people, Bloom, POS, BLEUM, and then also Digital Awesome, Brady Halls, my two favorites. But let's just dive into this topic. And so you said that you had some ideas about apps that you're kind of changing your mind on. Let's hear it, Steph.
I've got some opinions on dispo apps, and I want to caveat that these opinions are rooted in bias. This has been my experience with dispensary apps, and these are the standard ones that you get through your average loyalty program. These are not custom-made apps that I am talking about. At a baseline, I don't think it's a great idea for the industry to have invested all of this time, energy, and money into dispensary brands. I firmly believe that the future of cannabis is with brands. And everyone, like, if cannabis is going to become normalized, what is the name of your favorite liquor store? The only people that can answer that question are the ones that go to big, huge liquor stores like Total Wine. And I'm like, that is a giant chain. That doesn't count, right? Because your mom and pop dispo, you're not really going to know that name. My liquor store near me says liquor on the front of it, and I go in for the brands that they carry.
Yeah.
Right? At a baseline on that too, how long has the internet been mobile first for web design? Why do all of these big corporation e-com companies not have a good mobile experience on the website? Why are we switching from headless to reverse proxy, taking people back off of your website after spending 4 years convincing everyone that headless was the way to go because maybe they don't want to support it anymore? I don't actually know the reason. That's not my zone of genius, but it's stupid and it creates a poor experience for the end consumer. So I have a love-hate relationship with dispensary apps because I don't think it's realistic to download 5 dispensary apps that look the exact fucking same with a different color on them. All 5 of these dispos sell the exact same product at the exact same price, running the exact same promos with the exact same stupid app. And you don't need to download the dumb app because the web version of them is the literal exact same thing. So why do I need to download an app? And the menus aren't even integrated.
Sorry for talking over you, but why do you need to download? So that way the dispensary can have you in their retention, send you push notifications. That's the only thing I could see. Yeah, maybe it helps them with buying, but continue roasting. Go ahead.
You can do that on the browser, though. You don't have to do a push notification. You can do a browser push. It doesn't have to be through an app. And there's no fucking tracking. Where is the tracking and all of this app stuff that you had me download? Without that, what am I supposed to do? So the other part of it, other small part of it is, it is undeniable that apps do succeed. They do have good conversion and good engagement on them, but the pool of people that have the app versus the pool of people that were ordering on your website in the first place are very, very different numbers. So of course the app one looks better. How many people are you going to lose by not worrying about your website mobile experience and instead forcing them to download an app? App fatigue is a very real thing, and it's with Apple. You have roll-ups and focus, and then they uninstall themselves after a little bit, and you stop getting push notifications. Yeah. And as far as I know, as long as the app is on the phone, you can't tell if it's been archived from the loyalty platform side. It just shows that it's installed.
That's a question for a dev. I'm not sure on that either, but that's a really good point.
Crazy. It just, and a lot of these companies charge for the apps when you can get the exact same thing online. It just doesn't make sense to me why we're doing dispensary apps. What I really want to see in this market is a brand app. 710 Labs, if they had an app, I live in Arizona. 710 Labs isn't here. You bet your ass I'm downloading that app because I want to know what states they're in, what products they carry. I want product education. And brands are completely dependent on the dispensary in order to do any kind of retention or run promos, and they're counting on the dispo to do it properly, which retail marketers don't have the bandwidth to do your marketing exactly the way that you want. You are one brand out of 50 that I have to keep in mind. It gives brands an opportunity to run their own retention programs, have their own lists of contacts to re-engage with their end consumer, and then you can make good dispensary partnerships and bolster those dispos on your app. I don't know, man. It makes so much more sense to me to have a brand app. But I am also tired of really shitty menu experiences on mobile. Not everybody has a desktop computer. That's a hard thing for me to swallow because I'm on my computer all the time. I'm sitting here with like 4 screens. I just pull up their website because the mobile view sucks. So again, very biased, but that is what I've experienced, and I'm tired of them. I'm tired of apps being shoved down our throat on the retail side when it's the exact same damn thing that everybody else has.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. There was a lot of really good points here, and so let's actually just dive into this. And so, maybe it would be better if I had an app expert on here to kind of play devil's advocate.
I love that.
I think you had lots of really good points. We could invite Brady on here. I'm sure that he would actually come back and really that we could bicker back and forth here.
Digital Awesome. Digital Awesome is just a completely different ball game because the apps aren't the same. There's just more that you can do, and the menus are integrated. That is the biggest difference with the company like Digital Awesome is the experience is leaps and bounds better than what you get on your website. Still don't think dispensary apps are the future. I still think it's brand apps, but there is no option for that currently.
Well, to kind of play with you there, I buy alcohol, and you made a really good point. A lot of people that just want, I don't know what brand, or for example, maybe like Patron. If I'm going to go buy Patron, I don't need to find an app first. I'll probably just go to the nearest liquor store, even if it means I cheated on the one that I previously bought from, because I don't care. I just want Patron. And so it's kind of the same idea that you're saying, well, what about these apps? It's like, what's the deal? Why do we have to have this extra layer when really I just want to buy live rosin? And so I really hear you there. I think that you also kind of touched upon, the mobile view and how maybe the mobile view on their site sucks. And so, yeah, in this case, I do see a use case for having the app because when you go to Reddit, for example, and on Google, when you're typing for results on Reddit, it immediately prompts you to go over to the app, which actually kind of pisses me off because I don't like using the Reddit app. And so I don't know. There's lots of things to unpack here. And I'm not an expert on apps, to be honest with you, but I think you have a lot of really great points. Do I think that they serve their purpose? Yes, and I think the biggest purpose that the apps serve is just for this retention, the push notifications, and then also, at the same time, to play devil's advocate to myself, you made a really good point here. Is that what if you stop using the app for, I don't know, like a month, then all of a sudden the push notifications turn off. And so how do you then balance that? Is how do you keep people active on the app? Maybe it's the push notifications. I don't know, but this is really good stuff to unpack here, and we should probably actually circle back and maybe let's get Brady or somebody on here and just have somebody who's better than me, who can play devil's advocate better than me, to really kind of school people on these apps, because this is a really big thing that's been going for over a year now. Is everybody's signing on to these apps? So why?
Again, I'm talking about the standard app experience that 90% of dispensaries have. Custom built apps are expensive, and the other smaller part of it is think about the psychology with humans and how they engage with things. You can swipe away a push notification, and the vast majority of them don't have, or maybe they do now. They didn't like a year ago, but you would swipe away the notification. You're like, oh shit, I missed it. But you open the app and there's nothing in there. You're just like, well, I don't know what that was supposed to do or what that was supposed to be. Emails, right, should not be used for flash sales. That's for like longer information that can sit for a longer amount of time. And then text messages. Text messages have the best tracking on them currently, even with new 10 DLC regulations. You still get tracking when they click the link, they go into like your stash board or whatever you call it, that web page, and then anything they click on it. There's a lot of customization options in that.
Yeah, let's dive into this for a second here. With text messages, because obviously, the carriers, the Verizons, the T-Mobiles, they don't like that we're doing this. And then obviously people still find ways to do it. And so what I've noticed so far is, people really they don't use any sort of the brand names. And for example, when I get a text message from a dispo that you have a new offer, it's like, well, who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? But then I click on the link and all of a sudden I see kind of like a half of a marijuana leaf, and then I have to log in and whatever. And then finally, after getting past this landing page, probably just to pass the carriers, then I get the offer. Is this because of these carrier rules, or what's going on here?
Yep, that is new 10 DLC regulation. So cannabis falls under Shaft Act regulation, which is sex, hate, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. Yeah. I said that in the wrong order, but you understand.
Yeah, but I think it's one of the wrong words too, but yeah.
So cannabis falls under that. It's for the same reason you don't get not push notification. You don't get text messages for porn or for alcohol. It's restricted. So I'm sure there's ways that you can figure out your way around that, and maybe those solutions are an app. But that is new 10 DLC. I don't think it's that huge of a deal that we have that restriction with that understanding, but I am also used to always using that web page, right? I've been with Springbig for the vast majority of my career, and it's like I use Alpine IQ too, and whatever one that my clients have.
Yep, shout out to both of them.
It's not that big of a deal.
Alpine IQ.
I actually like it. I like the web page because I can customize it. I can do more with it. I can add more information and more links. And what I've seen a lot of dispos do is they just take their email creative, drop that in a text message, and send out the exact same thing on both channels. I don't recommend doing that. It's not the best thing to do. Definitely customize it. It doesn't take that long. You can do it templated. So but I mean, custom apps have come a long way since then, and that is my pet peeve with the current standard generic ones, is those push notifications don't really do anything. They bring you into it, but then what do? The menu is also not integrated, so then it's even shittier experience in your stupid app than it is on your website.
I think this is subtly endorsing platforms like Digital Awesome and my partner Bloom, is these people that actually spend really tons of effort to make sure these apps are top tier. As opposed to just some cut and paste, what's the APX file or whatever it is, the file, APK file.
And to your point, how do you keep people engaged with the app so it doesn't uninstall? Your retention program. Give them a reason to be in your app. It's every other, fast food place, for example, all of them gate points behind having an app login. I use the Taco Bell app like a crazy person. Probably shouldn't be saying that vocally on here. Yeah, I really like Taco Bell. But I also really love the Taco Bell app because of the engagement that they push out. It's engaging. I do engage with it.
So without going too into the weeds here, what is it about the Taco Bell app that makes you go back and use it? 'Cause I was going to talk about apps that I use, but I don't use a lot of these retail apps because I don't know. I go to Google and I type in what I'm looking for, and then I find
there's stuff to do. They do a new drop every Tuesday, so it's really fun to go in and see what that new drop is. Right now, they're doing a decades campaign, so it's all the stuff that we had growing up at Taco Bell, they're bringing back to the menu. So they got rid of the Mexican pizza. I was really sad. And then they brought it back, and I was really happy. So it's stuff like that. They do merch giveaways. There's contests. It's a very similar experience, in the cannabis world, to Embark Dispensary. I was looking at their program the other week that someone had turned me on to, and I don't want to be creepy, but hey, if you're listening and you're the head of marketing over there, I just want to be friends. I don't want to sell you anything. It's just what you put together is really, really, really cool, and I want to know you.
Shout out to Embark. I bet they've ignored probably 10 of my messages too. It's okay, nothing personal.
It is. I really love that engagement aspect of it, because that's what keeps people rooted in the community. And it's a point that you made earlier. I want to touch on it doesn't have to be cannabis companies. No, it certainly does not. You can join your local business commerce and make really great relationships there. You pay taxes just like everybody else. Why shouldn't you get to participate in the community and bring all of that together? That is what cannabis is. It's community.
Yeah, and I really love the idea of what we talk about, how the Taco Bell app really like helps you out, and how they have different offers, you know, the giveaways, and then bringing back like OG tacos or whatever the hell. You know, what if we do like the Durban Poison and the OG Kush or whatever? It's like Legacy Strain Month or whatever the hell. You know, this is why you need somebody in marketing whose job it is to just think about creative ways. And you know, somebody like Steph, who literally lives and breathes this. You know, she's on the Taco Bell app. She's finding out why she uses it, and then also at the same time she helps people with their marketing ops and their push notifications on their apps. And so shout out to Steph Vrona again. Super great to talk to you. I'm actually running out of talking points here because we've covered everything that we needed to just go into. What else do we need to discuss? What's the new thing for 2026? I guess we can start talking about for marketing ops loyalty. What haven't we covered yet, Steph?
I mean, gosh, there's just so much, right? It's Q4, got a lot going on, planning for the new year. I think I'm just in planning mode, honestly. I book in for 2026. I'm just excited. I know rescheduling is not anywhere on the horizon, and that's fine, but I'm still seeing new dispos pop up all the time. And even if there are dispensaries struggling, which there are, there's ways around it. It's pull inspiration from the things that you already engage with. Like, I am hugely interested in what Yum Brands, for example, does to detail out their customer retention programs. What are they talking about when they're planning things out, when they're planning their campaigns? How are dispensaries having a different conversation? Why are we having a different conversation? Things in cannabis are nuanced, but it's no different than really any other retail. People buy essentially the same, like on a psychological level. I do. I don't really buy cannabis any different than I buy any other retail commodity. Not really.
Yeah, no, as long as it does the trick. And in this case, oftentimes price is a big point too. If you're getting like what you want for a lower price. Shoot, losing my train of thought here. But
that's
really
why retention is important, because everything's the same. It's the same 5 dispos selling the same 5 brands at the same price at the same deal.
Absolutely. Losing my train of thought here, but really great to talk with you again, Steph. No, that's what I was going to say. One of the good pieces of news that I'm excited about for 2026 is the Farm Bill. It's going to be pushed. Despite this whole government shutdown, whatever, guess what they're not talking about? They are not talking about.
Tell me more. I had no idea.
So this is going to be a little bit of self-promotion, but if you are a THCA brand, you can now run compliant ads in most states. And so obviously, as Steph knows, THCA is basically THC before it touches the flame. And so any of these like THCA Farm Bill compliant products, they can now not only just ship nationally, but also strap ads behind it. And we can go in states like Florida, Texas, and at least for one more year, unless the senators and the Congress comes for us. But super excited about that because this just opens up doors to those national brands. And so, in my personal experience, I've noticed that these are the ones that are making a lot of money right now in 2025, 2026 of these national brands, because they're not just a local shop. They don't have to just sell to, Arizona or Colorado or whatever. They can sell nationally. And so super excited about that. What do you think? Do you have any of those THCA people on your roster?
I don't. And the reason I don't is when I'm local, I can do my research on local brands. I can see how their grows are on Instagram. Like, you talk to a lot of budtenders that are familiar with them. I do get asked a lot from really just everybody, like, hey, Steph, what are these THCA brands that you recommend? I don't know any of them. I don't know how to know any of them. I don't know how to vet this random company that I've never heard of that is now selling THCA flower, and like the marketing behind it is just, it's really confusing for the general consumer. Am I buying hemp? Is that what I'm, but like, I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm knowledge, like, I know THCA it's just THC. Like, there was a label, someone posted a label on LinkedIn. They're like, hey, on it, yep. Yeah, like, why is this high in THCA? I'm like, that's how it's supposed to look. Like, THC is only after you decarb. That's correct.
Any cannabis exec that's listening right now or whatever, this is the reason why there's dispensaries in states like Texas and states like Florida. It's because of the same thing that we're just talking about here. They're not THC, they are THCA. And so is there a huge difference? Not so much, but...
No. But like, is it hemp? That's what I don't understand. Like, because it's under the Farm Bill. So like, I don't know. I'm just very ignorant to it, but I also don't know how to find the information without relying on people that have purchased from their own favorite brands, but then it's a biased recommendation. It could just be their friend. You don't know.
Yeah, and to kind of, I don't want to get into the legal weeds of this, but technically it does qualify as hemp, as far as I know, and it's almost in the same box as CBD until they fix the Farm Bill. If they really care about this, they can fix the Farm Bill. But for 2026, we're coming full circle here. They do have it on the roster, and they're not shutting down. They're not arguing over this, and so the government shutdown has nothing to do with this, and so that's the good news. So we have at least one more year of that. And so maybe Steph will start to get into those THCA brands too, because that's the ones I've had some luck with. But really great to talk with you, Steph. This has been really informative. Every time you come on here, I always learn something new, and so thank you. This time we were talking about I'm going to lose my train of thought in the the experiential marketing. That was a really good idea. Then also the movie ticket thing you were talking about. Partnering with local brands that are not cannabis brands, recommending each other. I thought that was a really genius idea. Oh, shoot. I did want to wrap this up, but I also wanted to ask you one more thing, and I'm just now remembering. Another big trend that I've noticed in retention marketing are these social communities. And so I've seen, like Discord, what's another one? What are these like band places that you can be on? Telegram, WhatsApp, maybe Reddit. Are you pushing any of these sorts of retention communities? What do you think? What are your thoughts on this whole dish? Because I don't know anything about it. I've never even tried it.
I mean, I used to have a Facebook group back in the day for a dispo, and that's we definitely got shut down. I haven't heard of a dispensary pushing something like that. Brands, yes. I'm in a couple of Discord communities with brands. Dispos, no. Honestly, it's a really good idea. Reddit would be wonderful. Reddit has a weird culture though when you're a brand or like a dispo on there, and it's Reddit can't
just tell it like it is. That's what I love about Reddit. And so I would actually be scared to jump into Reddit if I was a brand, just because like what if you do have a couple of shady parts of your business or whatever that all the internet's gonna know.
Who doesn't though? Everyone has shaky parts. Like no one can be perfect. And again, we're not in medical markets anymore. Like the standard, I'm sorry, but the standard is no longer there for the vast majority of these brands. It's what is the cheapest product that we can produce to sell for the most to get people high. What is it? The lowest value comment. I forget what the thing is called, the term for it. I haven't. Who do you know that's doing that? I would love to check that out.
I've just seen it on LinkedIn, and I follow other marketers. I actually don't want to
send me one of those next time you see it. I would love to, because Discord's hard to get people on. Slack is hard to get people on. I've never used, Telegram or Telegraph? I've never used that.
So I know Caitlin Domain from Flow Hub, and she also does Southern Roots Genetics. She also does consultancy on the side. She's actually one of the big authorities that I've seen pushing that, and so that would be somebody to hit up. And so actually we should have her on the show. Caitlin, I hope you're doing well. Had her husband on the show, and he was really informative about like growing and stuff. And actually, I should circle back. Caitlin, let's talk.
Why can't you build those communities into your app?
I don't know. That's a question that you should be answering and solving yourself. You're right. Why don't you?
We're gonna go ask Brady. We're gonna go ask Brady why we can't do that yet. That would be clutch. It's a feedback loop. Oh my God, there's so many ideas with that. I was talking to. It's not a cannabis company. It's like Patreon, but way cooler. It's a company called Magnetic with the Q at the end. I love their platform, and it's the idea is to build a cult fan base and not just people that are like join a casual Discord. Like you want people that are engaged. It all comes back to experiential engagement. It's what is the community value that they're getting out of it that makes them want to participate, and that's why Reddit's so popular, because it's community, somewhat anonymous, but it's community. Talking to real people, not corporation shilling.
Yeah, well, imagine like we were talking about like these bud tender, and we will wrap this up because we're starting to push over an hour now. How they respect your time, but like, we were talking about how bud tenders are really great for promoting these deals, and how you have a nice bud tender or whatever, it can help your retention. So what if you kind of like translate, so just copy paste that, and so imagine I just had this really great idea with this this experience with this bud tender. I'm now pushed into this public group, and now I'm also recommending he said that I should do this, this, and this, and it kind of just has like a parrot effect on your retention marketing. No.
Yeah. The community I had on Facebook, it was a patient community. That was phenomenal. The amount of education that was shared in there, the knowledge sharing, it's people don't hold back when it cannabis is community. I can't emphasize that enough. I really can't. Trust is what sells. When you put those two together, it's kind of a no-brainer. Why wouldn't people come back to you?
Yeah, 100%. And so if you do need help having people come back to you, maybe you're just getting a ton of new customers and you're not noticing that many of them come back, or especially if you're having high opt-out or not even opt-in rates, definitely get in touch with Steph Vrona. She's the founder of High Def Studio. She'll help you from the ground up, starting with your foundation and your operations, and then finally, ensuring that your loyalty program converts and brings more people back in. Thank you, Steph, for coming on the show for the third time now. This has been really informative. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure anybody else listening in the industry is also learning. And so thank you so much for coming on. Let's circle back. We shouted out a lot of ideas and people, and maybe we can have some more collabs and content in the future with some of these people and new panels and stuff like that. But thank you so much, Steph. Definitely wish nothing but the best for you, and let's circle back soon.
Likewise. Thank you.
Hey, Sam here. Thanks again for listening to the GDM Podcast. So we do websites and SEO for cannabis brands and operators, and we do things a little bit differently here at GDM, where we can promise results within weeks rather than months. And so if you're looking to sell more ounces, bongs, other premium products, start selling some more weed, get in touch with us at Green Dispensary Marketing to learn more. Thanks again for listening, and hope you have a great day.